this regular version is stunning. It is beautiful. Wow. I am really tempted. Hi and welcome back to the channel. Steven right here with your weekly figure news fix. We will be taking a look at figures on pre-order between 1st to 6th of January 2024. Now for the first week of January, including the final 1 or 2 days of December, end of the year, it is actually a holiday week over in Japan. Most stores are not working. Yeah, figure companies as well. So there are no new genuine figures on pre-order in the first week of January, which was entirely predictable. It is the same thing every year. So over on HLJ, well, there are only 5 figures as you can see on pre-order this week. Well, more like 2 figures or 3 figures on pre-order only. They are mostly priced figures except for this Honor of Kings figure, which I have already covered in last week's episode because she went on pre-order first in Ami by Apex Toys. So I won't talk too much about this figure. Well, if you like the character design, yeah, go ahead and pre-order it. Apex Toys is a really good figure brand in general. Now we shall move on to third-party resin figures directly, making use of OzGK as usual for my videos every week. Yeah, I mentioned earlier about this figure news fix being figures on pre-order from 1st to 6th of January, but 6th of January is actually a Saturday, and figures that go on pre-order on Saturday are not going to appear into this video. They will make it into next week's figure news because I need to get this video filmed and done editing on Friday night itself. Schedule issues, right? And also YouTube's algorithm causing issues, so I need to get it done a day earlier. At least I'm still covering the figures, right? Okay, without further ado, let's move on to the first figure over here. Griffith from Berserk, that is a dude, right? Not a girl, right? I'm not too sure because I did not watch the anime, right? Or I didn't read the manga either. And you know, with anime, there are so many traps out there going in both directions. Okay, this is by Fan Art Studio, something of next level. And even if this is a dude, I think this one deserves a little bit of attention for being next level stuff. So this is $1,388 US. Like, that is 1 month worth of salary for some people depending on where you work. Like for us in Southeast Asia, where our pay is not really high, this can be more than a month salary for some people, right? But this is also a 1/3 scale where the total height of this figure is 75 centimeters, and that is for the figure only, not including the base. If you include the base for this thing, it's around 130 plus centimeters, right? So that is pretty much the height of a lolly, an adult lolly, right? Yeah, I have friends with height of 140 centimeters or so. So try to imagine the size of this figure, or rather a statue. For those with really deep pockets, for sure, yeah, you see that base over there, that is a huge cheat code to make the figure appear a lot larger than it actually is. But even without that base, the thing is 75 centimeters, so you can imagine that, right? Okay, I'm not sure if this is resin or polystone, right? It looks like resin to me. I don't think there are any third parties making use of polystone yet. I might be wrong though, but I've never seen one. Because this effect on the metal parts of the body almost looks like polystone to me rather than resin, because it is very easy to replicate metallic look on a resin figure, but this almost looks like stone to me, right? Looks like stone rather than metal to me. Stone with a metallic paint on the surface. So I'm not too sure, but I doubt that anyone buying a statue like this cares what material it is made of, as long the final product turns out perfect, right? After all, this is $1,400 almost, and that is not yet including a shipping cost, a really high shipping cost. Moving on to the next one, this is really early. Wow. So, from NTR Studio, of all names, we have Hyoka Uzen from Mato Seihei no Slave, or some of you know it as Chained Soldier. You know, localizers in the Western market, they just change the title of an anime and even the subtitles, the dubs, whenever they please to fit their own agenda, which I'm not going to get into with this video today, right? I don't want to discuss about those things if I can, but in future, if the problem arises and it involves the anime figures, I will still talk about it. Now, back to this figure over here. This is very early, but I suppose that I'm not surprised at all given that Zenless Zone Zero, the game, is not even out yet, but we already have 3 resin figures of them and they look amazing, at least in the official product pictures. However, this figure appears to be like a low effort work from the studio behind this figure. Like they only really needed to sculpt the face and the hair. That's it, right? The body could have been from any other figure. They could have, they could have sculpted it in any way they want, right? Like the very same torso or body of the figure, you can swap it with any head from any other anime characters and you wouldn't be able to tell. And I would rather see her in her military uniform and with the katana over there, which was what we saw in episode 1 of the anime. If you have not watched the anime, go and watch it. It is amazing. And we are now only episode 1. So to me, can I recommend this figure of Kyoka Uzen? No, not really, right? It feels like something low effort to me, even though this is under $200 for something which is wearing just swimsuit. I can't justify it. Unless you want fan service stuff, then by all means go and pre-order it. But to me, it is not worth it. I would wait for something, regardless of genuine or third party, I would wait for something with military unit art form. And even better if the third parties do it with that guy in her monster form, that huge monster form, that would be amazing. But I think that would cost like $600. Yeah, I do think a third party might do it at some point. Okay, moving on to the next one, we have 3 Genshin figures, I think, right, for this week. 3 or 4 Genshin figures for this week. Okay, from Honey Peach Studio, we have Yaemiko from Genshin Impact. This is probably the 69th figure of Yaemiko already. Teaser pick, early bird pre-order, no price yet. But what we get to see over here are the variants: daily wear, swimwear, and then there is silicone version for each, right? Or you can get the deluxe version where you buy both. Okay, so the teaser pick over here, well, even with this teaser pick, I think we can draw a lot of conclusions from this figure. Not the quality, of course, but this is most likely a realistic face third-party resin figure, right? And given that so many figure brands, third-party brands are doing this realistic face thing, maybe it is pretty popular. Who knows? It is not my kind of thing, but it has to be popular enough for them to keep making it endlessly, right? Okay, moving on to the next one. This is possibly the highlight of the week for me. Right, this figure actually went on pre-order, early bird pre-order last Saturday, which I did not cover in last week's video. Okay, ABsinthe Studio Raiden Shogun from Genshin Impact. This one is about $299 US. I think the price is not yet finalized, right? Can you pay for the full? Oh, it is finalized. Regular version $299, and then R18 version, you already know what the figure is like. Probably cheaper. I'm unwilling to click on the picture because I'm afraid that I'll get something that R18 version is $276. I would rather you buy the regular version, which is the picture over here. I think R18 version is pretty much her. Yeah, you got the point, right? The R18 version, which I don't think there are any pictures over here. Yeah, I think you know what to expect, right? So regardless of what the R18 version looks like, this regular version is stunning. It is beautiful. Wow. I am really tempted. So far, I may have bought quite a number of Genshin figures, but I don't have a single Raiden Shogun figure yet, despite so many options in the market. But now I've seen this version by ABsinthe Studio. $300 is definitely a lot of money, but woo. This is one of the best looking Raiden Shogun third-party figures I've seen yet so far. I am very tempted despite the really high asking price of $300, which is almost normal nowadays for resin figures. Now here we have a silhouette of the R18 version, which, yeah, a completely different figure, surprisingly. I thought they are going to take the same figure and just removing everything that she is wearing, but no, it is a completely different figure. Right, and I think you can already imagine the pose based on the silhouette over there. In the end, I would still highly recommend the standard version. I think that is all you need for this figure of Raiden Shogun. Moving on to the next one, we actually have 2 figures of Furina from Genshin Impact for this week. This is by Monroe Studio and Gentleman 18 Studio. Gentleman 18 Studio, I thought they are normally making male figures, right? Cultured male figures with a huge cannon down there. So I'm quite surprised they're involved with this figure of Furina. The price is not yet confirmed, right? That is a placeholder price. No price, and release date June. That is really fast. June 2024. Are they able to get it out in June? I don't think so. Right? This is by no means a simple figure, but Her sitting on that clamshell base, that is quite nice indeed. And the next Furina figure over here looks pretty generic and we need more close-up pictures, right? $259 for Furina by Fan Love Studio. Okay, 1/6 scale, of course. To be honest, the kind of background they used to photograph this figure is not helping at all. Like, the figure looks really dull in color. Like, not very vibrant. And the face is too dark, right? There are too much shadows on her face. I can't really see her eyes properly. I know that hair is casting shadows on her face, but they really should fix the lighting a bit, at least for product pictures. Amount of details is pretty decent, I won't lie, but the colors are looking a bit washed out on this one, so it is not really attracting me as much for this version of Furina. Moving on to the next one, we have 3 figures from One Piece. No Boa Hancock for this week, somehow. Okay, Lost Boys Studio One Piece Childhood Yamato, $80. So chibi figure like the Genshin figures I've covered over the weeks. Like we have these chibi versions of Genshin characters. Some of them are really attractive, right? This Yamato, I would say pretty meh. Well, doesn't look too bad, but at the same time, it doesn't feel that special to me. Yeah, $80 is fine. Given a size of between 16 to 25 centimeters, what is the height? 15. Which is a tad bit larger than Nendoroid's, 50% larger. $80 is fine for a resin figure. Moving on to the next one, we have Nico Robin from Face Studio, $139 at 1/7 scale. Now, I'm not sure if this Nico Robin is trying to be someone from Boku no Hero Academia. Right? Whatever that she is wearing on the lower half of her body, her legs especially, and that base, it feels like I'm looking at a figure of Uraraka Ochako from BNHA. I mean, the figure looks really nice. It really stands out. The colors are great on this one, but doesn't feel like something from One Piece to me. Yeah. Very nice figure to have though for $140. Moving on to the next one. This is prototype stage with not even painted yet. Jewelry Bonnie. Okay, from One Piece by Plan Zero Studio, $121. But I know this is standard practice in third-party figure markets where they put figures on early bird pre-order even that a lot of things are not yet confirmed, be it the price or the release date, or even whether the figure is already painted or not. I'm not sure how do they expect people to place a pre-order on something like this given these pictures over here. Next figure, we actually have something from Zenless Zone Zero, Hoshimi Miyabi by Kiki Studio, which I don't know much about once again. Okay, this one is $279 and I think at 1/6 scale, this is a really good buy. Provided Kiki Studio does deliver as promised in these product pictures. I feel like I'm looking at a mashup of characters from Arknights. I think Good Smile had a figure from Arknights where there is a barricade like this with all those warning stripes, yellow warning stripes. I can't remember the name, but Good Smile had a figure like this, like very similar in design. Okay, and the character design is like a mashup of Azalin, Arknights again, and the popular stuff in general. But this is indeed a really good looking figure. And the ultimate question, is the figure cast offable? The answer is I don't know. Perhaps I should seek out the Twitter page of this studio, Kiki Studio, if they have one. Because if we want to look at pictures, like every picture of the figure, including a cast-off version, if any, you need to go to Twitter. That is where all these things are being posted, right? But I would say that you don't need cast-off version, even if there is one separately for different price points. This is more than good enough. Imagine buying so many third-party figures only to have 2 different figures for the very same character, or half an additional figure. Like you just get an extra body part with nothing on, just exposed body, and then in the end, when you buy so many deluxe versions of a normal figure just to get those extra parts, imagine when you have 20 or 30 extra body parts where you don't know what to do with them, right? Eventually becomes a problem when you have too many extra parts and you don't have the space to keep them. So to bear in mind before you go and hit the pre-order button on the deluxe version every time, even though I always suggest you to go for the complete package. But you need to take into account your own situation back at home. Can you afford to do so? Not just financially, but in terms of space as well, right? There is no two separate versions for this figure, just this version at $279. And of course, there are no casted off version pictures over here. But given that what China is doing on clamping down on those kind of figures, I don't think these figure sites, they can afford to upload those pictures anymore. I don't think those pictures are a problem to websites that sell to international customers like OzGK over here. But the companies, the studios behind this figure, they have to be extra careful with the pictures they release because, yeah, the very same pictures will be used by Chinese sellers over in China to sell those products. Yeah. Moving on to the next one, we have something high-end again. This is Luong from the King of Fighter by Dear Lord Studio. 1x2 scale, half scale. So this is 90 centimeters, 80 centimeters, $866 US. Let's see the dimensions. Wow, 1.2 meters. 1.2 meters. So she must come with a really tall base, right? Because, yeah. Hold on. So if the base is maybe 20 centimeters, the figure would still be 1 meter tall. So half scale, does it mean she is like at least 7 feet tall in real life? That is a really tall woman, man. Of course, I did not bother to search for the statistics of this character over here, like what is her height and weight. I'm sure you can find it in KOF Wiki, for example, right? The character specs. But 1.2 meters, including the base for a female figure, is very tall. Very tall. Character design, I'm not a fan of it. Okay, moving on to the next one. Okay, Apex Studio, we have Ram from ReZero, and this is not the Apex toys we know that sell genuine figures, right? I think this is a third-party figure brand. I don't know how they were able to get away with using the same name as Apex Toys, or maybe trademark laws in China is different. Maybe Apex Toys and Apex Studio is different enough. Like one word is different. Not to mention their logo for the company is different. That is how I know this is a completely different company. Right? Yeah, look at this logo up here. Obviously, a different brand from the Apex Toys we know. Now, is this RAM recommended? Once again, I don't think I know anything about this brand over here. But if you are into fan service, then maybe pick one up for $210 at 1x6 scale. I would say the price is on the reasonable side. But still, oh, yeah, she comes with a mace, so that is not too bad at all. To me, I am really sick of seeing so many RAM figures already, so I'll give this a pass, right? Moving on to the next one, we have DT Studio and Ume Studio, which they are well known for their 1x4 scale realistic face looking figures, right? Which some people are not a fan of, myself included, because it feels like buying a statue of a cosplayer of the said character rather than a statue of the very character itself, right? But everyone has their own taste. So we have Artoria Pendragon, or just Saber from Fate Stay Night. Okay, this one is actually quite affordable. The $809 US you're seeing, that is for the ultimate version, where you're getting two different torsos, two different versions. So if you're buying the Excalibur version, which is this picture over here, okay, the full price for this is $649, which is in line with most 1x4 scale statues of resin figures. And then there is a dress version over here. Alter made a very similar figure, which was insanely popular, madly popular. That one was even re-released once, right? Yeah, Saber Outer, that is Saber Outer. But this dress version over here is going for $419 US, which at 1x4 scale is actually very reasonable. I'm not surprised that this version is so much more expensive. As you can see, there are more details to be had. And then there is an EX version going for $809, and then EX version hidden color. What is that supposed to mean? Oh, okay. I see. So, just now the Saber Outer we saw, right? This is the one we saw. This is the dress, they are mentioning dress color for 400 plus US dollars. And then the hidden color is this one. Right? Okay. So do I prefer the hidden color version? This one looks like Snow White in some way, right? It doesn't look like Saber at all. So I'm not a fan of this color. I still prefer this color if I had to choose the dress version, because this really reminds me of Saber Artoria. Yeah, this one really reminds me of Saber Artoria by Artoria itself. Very nice. This is very nice. Normally, I always recommend people to go for armor version or those high detail version as I call it. But this one, this is quite nice as well. I wouldn't blame you if you go for the EX version, this A plus B. It is a good deal if you want to have both for $809, right? Okay, moving on to the next one. Okay, the next 5 figures, they are very cultured figures. So I had to manipulate the pictures in some way. I apologize for that, but YouTube need to appease their advertisers in some way. Make use of the links in the description below, or just go to OzGK and you can search for the figure yourself and check out the pictures, right? The thing is, not only the amount of skin being shown by the figure is a problem to YouTube, but the pose itself is also a problem. If the pose is a bit, too inspiring, too suggestive, then it is also a problem. Okay, so this is Aponia from Honkai Impact, and this figure was incredibly popular over in my Facebook page when I posted it. One of the highlights this week as well, together with that Raiden Shogun earlier, $299 for the extreme version, where you get this dressed up version and also an exposed version. Okay, and there are 2 faces for you to choose from, normal face and yeah, the high face. So in this case, where the standard version is $276 and then the EX version is $299, because you're not getting 2 entire figures, right? You're just getting extra parts, and the difference being only around $25. Yeah, go for the EX version in this case. Moving on to the next one from TXS Studio, which is very famous now for highly cultured figures, right? This time around they made Asuma Toki for $239. Yeah, if you are into this kind of thing, I think this is not a bad purchase. While I may have not purchased any TXS Studio figures so far, there are a lot of pictures of various different figures from this brand on the internet. Go and search for it. And yeah, the figures look pretty fine. Not to mention they are quite tall most of the time. They are quite big. So you do get a value for money. If you are into cultured figures, this is worth considering for Asuma Toki fans. Moving on to the next one, we have Beast Studio Ichinose Asuna from Blue Archive, $174. That is for the painted version. You can buy the figure unpainted and paint it yourself as well for a cheaper price. Why would you do that? I don't think anyone would do that other than they want to practice painting a figure on their own, right? So with Beast Studio, I have mentioned this 3 or 4 times already, but I think it is my responsibility to let you guys know that this studio has a history of stealing artwork. So I have no clue at all whether this figure is a result of art theft or not. If it is, let me know down in the comments below, right? And I will remove any links related to this figure. I don't want to support art theft, but it is impossible to keep track of everything out there, right? So the community supporting me is just as important in feeding me with more information in the world of anime figures in general. But this is far from my favorite figure of Asuna Ichinose. I think the one made by Dodomo Studio, which is also extremely cultured in some way, that is still among the best third parties one. Though I think that one has pre-order closed and it is nearly impossible to find one now. Not at the normal pre-order asking price at least. Up next, another fan service figure. This is Black Swan from Honkai Star Rail, which I heard this character is not even yet being officially introduced in the game, but now we already have figures, right? They just had to take advantage of the opportunity over here. Okay, this is by Fireworks Studio. The price is not yet confirmed. That is just a placeholder price. And yeah, I'm only showing you guys the face over here for very obvious reasons. Go and check out the figure yourself if you are interested. And the last figure for today, this is the most extreme one of all. From Triple S Hot Studio, we have Wife Taiho, your wife being anti-art. And this is post NTR, after the NTR session by a dozen goblins. Yeah, I'll leave it to your imagination. So, $194. would you buy something like this, right? This is 1/7 scale, not 1/6, but still not bad. I mean, this thing is going to sell, regardless of what you think of the people who buy stuff like this, right? You will only earn my full level respect, like level 100 respect, if you display this in your room while living with someone else. Your parents, your family, or your friends, doesn't matter. Display this in your room while living with someone else, I dare you. And that is all for Figure News Fix this week, 1st to 6th of January. Drop a comment if you're interested in any of these figures, or you have any input like regarding the figure by Beast Studio earlier. I always encourage comments. If you enjoyed this video today, give this video a like, please. It would really help this channel. And subscribe to this channel for anime figure content every week. Until then, I'll see you guys again very soon. Goodbye and have a nice day.